Hello everyone. Today here we have ourselves a tier list, but this isn't your normal kind of tier list. No, this is a worth playing against not worth playing, easy to play against hard to play. If we're not doing any of this SA tier list stuff, we've done those to death. I find this is going to be a little bit more interesting. Let's get started. So our first one is going to be Jason. Now Jason is definitely on the easier end of the spectrum. Even doing his optimal combos now, they're quite easy. I do think he's probably bordering not worth playing. He works in some teams, especially with characters like Eric. You know, he works great with Eric, for example. But he's a bit underwhelming. He doesn't hold his own in neutral very well. It's not good. Next, we're going to pick another easy one. This one is going to be Jen. Now Jen, I'm sure we all know she is pretty top tier. So she's definitely on the top end of worth playing. Her assist alone is a win condition, right? If you can land that assist, you're laughing. You can get yourself set up for unblockables, high-low mix-ups, left-right mix-ups. They have to hold it. So I'm going to put her on the top of worth playing, and I think her combos are really easy. She has some optimal blink finesse in order to kill, but I don't think you need to play her that way in order for her to be worth playing. I think you can get like 80-90% of the way there with just doing her reset work, because her resets are so good. And that leads us on to Goldar. Now I think he's towards the easier end of playing. I don't think he's nearly worth as playing as Jen. I do think he's worth playing more than Red. And the reason being is his assist is so good. He has very plus buttons. They're very easy to use. I'm leaning towards the easy to play here. What stops him from being like super worth playing? He is mostly an assist. If you want to play him, you have to build a team around him. And I just think there's better characters to build a team around with him right now. He does very poorly against the top tiers. He struggles a lot against them. He's just a little bit slow. He doesn't have a regular dash, and that makes it hard for him to get around. So I'm going to leave him here. I think he's worth playing. I think he's definitely on the easier end. He is definitely one of the easiest characters to play. His combos are very, very short, and there's not many buttons in it. Next, we're going to pick out Gia. Now, Gia is, in my opinion, she's up here with the worth playing. She's probably a little bit less than Jen. It's an interesting one because I think in order to get started with her, she is very easy. You know, you've got a lot of 5H, gunshots 5H, her combo, the Moron combo is so easy to do. But I think to really understand her and play her well, it does take a little bit more time. And I think for that reason, I'm probably going to put her like kind of cornering Jen here. Yeah, I think she's definitely like among the easiest characters to play, and she's definitely worth playing. Next, we're gonna pick Magna. I think he's slightly on the harder to play. And that's just because his roots, his juggles are a little bit harder to get around. It takes a little bit of getting used to. Also, his shotgun confirms. His shotgun's really good. Getting used to that double plink into the overhead to OTG them off the shotgun takes a lot of awareness, and it's very fast. I also think he has some issues that make him a little bit harder to play. So I'm going to leave him here, but I do think he is more worth playing than not. I think he does make for an interesting, decent point character. And his assist isn't nothing to laugh at anymore because it is a very long range assist. We're going to move on to Eric. I think he's on the harder to play, for sure. I think he's on the harder to play side. And the reason being is that zoners, in my opinion, in this game are a little bit harder to play than most characters. It's very easy to get in on zoners. Zord is against you. Eric is one of the characters you can convert solo off of his gunshots, off his zoning. However, it does require 2 meter, and it does require knowing a very specific route for it. If you anti-air, you need to know a very specific route for it. If you airblade, you need a very specific route. Like, everything he has is very specific routes. So I kind of like put him here. I think he's a really good character to build around. I think his assist is very good as well. It's decent at picking out other assists, but it's not as good as, say, someone like Slayer for sniping other assists. So I kind of want to put him here. I don't think he's easy to play in the slightest. I don't think he's the hardest because like mechanically I think he's very fluid. It's just there's so much awareness and so many routes that you need to be aware of. And now we're going to move on to Lauren. Lauren, she's like, I think she belongs in this line. Lauren being on your team, she has a great assist. It's not the same as Gen assist. It has its own benefits because it comes out quicker. There's a gap in it, which is also a curse. She's such a good point character. She's a great anchor. With a little bit of meter and some Zord, she can run for a whole team. She has great solo incomings. However, is she easy or hard? I kind of want to say she's easy because, on one hand, I want to say she's easy because she's got very big buttons, she runs, she has a double jump, is very intuitive, she has a lot of privilege in that sense. But I think she kind of leans towards the harder because her roots require stance cancels. She doesn't have an OTG, so you kind of have to be aware of that. Depending on how you pick up, you have to know how to do those 5M corner carries, you know, the stance cancel corner carries. She also doesn't have as much damage, so you need to know your resets, and I think her resets are really good. But I think she requires more work than, say, this corner here in order to get where you want to be with it. But the payoff is so good. The payoff for playing her is so good. We mentioned her earlier, but we're going to move on to Slayer. I think she's kind of really hard to play. She has good zoning, but the zoning has no payoff. I think that kind of puts her in this zone. She has a really good assist. She has the best counter assist in the game. Hands down, just that assist can snipe every assist. Her roots, pretty okay, they're pretty decent, but the optimal stuff is a lot harder. Zoning is very difficult in Grid. She has to be very optimal in order to keep people out, and that for me is what kind of puts it down in the hard to play section. Whereas with Eric, his zoning is really good, and he has ways of setting up, you know, formation sword, for example, to control the airspace. He also has gunshots that can turn into anti-airs, whereas with Slayer, once you jump in at her, she can't change out into an anti-air. So I think that kind of puts it down here. It's just it's hard playing as her, but I think she's probably harder to play. Is she as good as Jason? I think she's worse than Jason. I think she's, yeah, probably worse than Jason. Sentry. I have never played a Sentry. I think I picked him like for labbing against him, and that's it. I think his assist is really good. I think he's a little bit hard to play. I think he's definitely easier than Magna. He always comes across a little bit easier than Magna. I think his value is it's roughly the same. I think it's probably a little bit better because his assist value is so good. That assist is just worth playing for. And one of the nice things about him is that he sits on a team where if you have two closer range characters and you have one range character such as Sentry, you can mix up the spaces in neutral. And I feel that's really good to have in a team. So I'm going to kind of put him just above Magna. But it's not much, I don't think. Next, we're going to have Ceno Blue Ranger. I think he's like... Oh man, I think he's down here. I think he's also quite hard to play right now. His roots are so weird. I like his assist. I think his assist is honestly slept on by a lot of people. I think it is really good. But you've got like Ryu assist, which is just a better which is not a better version of it, but it's attached to a better character, a more consistent character. I think Ceno's inconsistencies are what make him a character that's slightly not worth playing and slightly hard to play. I'm just trying to decide if he's worse than Slayer to play, because I kind of think that maybe it should be a bit more like this. Yeah, maybe something like this. We can always come back into it. We're going to shuffle him around, no doubt, before the end of this, but Blue definitely sits around in this way. He's definitely below the bar for worth playing. I don't think he's easy to play, and his super, which can whiff, that makes for a hard time. So we are going to move on to the King, RJ. Now, RJ... he sits up here in the worth playing. My god, this is a character that is worth playing. As a point character, even as a mid, oh god, he's so strong. He's so strong right now. And I think, in terms of ease to play, I think he sits around here. His combos are longer, right? But his buttons are so easy to convert off of. He has so many ways of converting. And as well as that, like, even picking up from a scramble, like, this character can pick up so well from a scramble. The thing that I kind of want to drop him down a little bit for is that there are better points than him. I think when we're talking about, like, the best points, we're looking at someone like Chun Li, who we'll get to. I also think Gia is probably one of the best points, but RJ has damage, which I think puts him above Gia here. His damage puts him a little bit higher. I think his roots are not the easiest, which kind of like brings him slightly out from the easy to play, but like at the same time, like he can convert off of so many different things, and he's so easy to pick up off of scrambles. Like maybe he's like here, maybe. Yeah, we're gonna leave him here. We're gonna see how we feel about that. He is definitely one of the characters to build around and pick and slap on your team. Put him in mid if you're unsure who to put on your team. His assist is okay. It's good, but it's not as good as some other assists in the game. Right, we have Rita. Now Rita I think she belongs in the hard to play category. When she's solo, she is one of the worst characters for trying to get in for a game plan. She has such a good game plan when she gets up close, but my god, trying to get in, just it looks like such torment. She has really good tag out value. I think her assist is okay to good. It's a worse Scorpina assist. I think we're all okay with that by now. I think her value is probably around here, but I think she's not a character you want to build around. But she does well in certain teams that would like an assist like Scorpina's. She's definitely harder to play than most characters. But like her route, the actual route that she has seems quite easy, but it's just everything in between it looks like hard work. So we're going to put her here. Now, her counterpart, Scorpina, her assist alone puts her around this level, right? Her neutral isn't as good as some of these other characters. I think she's quite easy to play as well. Like, I think she probably sits around here. She is a character that can go into every single team. If you're unsure what to do with a third and you need a good assist, Scorpina is that character for you. Now, when she gets rolling, she has some very good solo incoming stuff, and none of it is particularly hard. I think she sits around here. I don't think she's as good as Lauren, but I think her value is definitely, her assist is definitely above Goldar's. She's definitely on the easier end. I'm not sure how easy she is to play, because she has a weird jump. And I think that does pull her away from the easiest characters in the game. So we'll leave her here. We'll leave her here for the moment. Now we are going to move on to Cat. And I'm really sorry, as a fellow Cat player and a Cat lover, she sits around here. Definitely. Oh, does she? She's so easy to play. She's really easy to play. She's probably one of the easiest characters in the game to play as. I've always joked and said that Red Ranger is like a worse version of her, but then Red had his changes, so I kind of like almost want to dump them on top of each other. I think her assist is still better than Red's, but her neutral is really bad compared to Red's. Once she's solo and you can keep her out with a better tier character, that's it, she's done. Like, I think she's... oh no. I think I want to put her here. Maybe. I still think her assist puts her ahead of Red. I do. I think her assist is just better than Red's. And with the assist, I think on top of the assist just being a little bit better than Red's, it's worth putting her in a team more often than not because of it. But she is definitely one of the easiest. Yeah, I'm going to stick her here. I don't know. This is one I'm probably going to come back to at the end, and I'm probably going to change. So let's see how we feel about that. Moving on. Right, so we now have Poisandra. She goes straight up here. It's not even worth discussing. Honestly, she's just got so much. She's got great air buttons. She can carry a team. Sledge, giving her like that, such a strong way of approaching with many different, from many different angles. Her routes, I think, are definitely among the easier. I think she's probably more valuable. Is she more worth playing than Jen? I think it's probably quite level. The thing that made me want to pull Poisandra down a little bit is her assist. Her assist, I think, is still very bad. However, her point value is so much stronger. It's not so much stronger, but it's really good. Is it better than RJ's? For sure. Is she easier to play than RJ? Is she easier to play than RJ? I don't think so. So maybe she goes here? She's worth playing more than RJ. I agree with that. She's slightly worse than Jen in my opinion, but it's not much, honestly. It's just the assist and point value of Jen does put her slightly over. I think the assist is just worse. So I think I might put it here. We're going to do that. We're going to do that for now. And we are going to pick Green Ranger. We're going to move on to a different part of the different part of the table. He's not going to go up here. He's definitely not going up here. I think he's harder to play. He's just a bit of a struggle. His routes are not the easiest. I don't think they're hard per se, but they're definitely not easy. I think it's difficult for him to get in and for people to get that. I also think he's like not worth playing. I think he's definitely above Blue in terms of value. He has a standing overhead, for example, so that in my opinion immediately brings him up, because standing overhead means you could do a bad combo and finish with an unblockable reset, or at least some mix. So I think I'm going to leave him here. His assist also isn't that good. It's okay. It's not great. It is one of the few assists that is airborne, so it gives you an opportunity for an overhead when tagging into him. And we're going to move on to Trini. I think she belongs down here. I still think she is one of the worst characters in the game. She doesn't play grid very well. She doesn't have a dash. She has bad buttons. She does damage now. She does very good damage now, but the routes are finicky. They are finicky and I don't like them. I've never liked them and I will continue to not like them. I think in terms of playing her well, is she hard to play? Like, I kind of want to put her here. She doesn't have many buttons, right? She doesn't have many buttons, and they are big buttons. However, to try and play her, rather than just going to rank and mashing buttons, I think she is more difficult than not to play, because she doesn't play grid very well. She doesn't have the movement, she doesn't have the options, her resets are really bad, and I think she probably belongs down here because of that. It's very easy to go on ranked and like press 5H and 5S, you know, the beam and the headbutt and get away with some stuff, and maybe, you know, JM the stomp and JS, which is the slam on the floor, but like to actually play grid, I think she struggles to, she actively works against you for it. And we are going to move on to Dai Shi. I think Dai Shi is one of the hardest characters in the game to play. It's hard for him to engage in neutral without taking heavy risks. His roots are, if I was worried about the Shiba, you know, the stance cancels from Lauren, the cancels for the optimal Dai Shi combos are another level. Like, you are cancelling every, was it second or third hit? Correct me if I'm wrong, but like, you know, you're cancelling so often with him. He's got a, you know, high APM if you want to go for a, like a MOBA term. He requires a lot of button presses in his roots. And even in his neutral, like, he's got a lot of stances to cancel into other buttons. He has wall clings that you can dash across and cancel. There's a lot to remember and use at the same time. I think he's definitely among the hardest characters to play. Now, his value, I still think he is, somewhere here. I don't like his assist. I think red is a better version of Dai Shi assist. Now, he does more than Slayer on point. Is he worth playing more than blue? Maybe. Yeah, I think is he worth playing more than blue? I don't know. I don't know that he is. Because blue is someone you can build around, right? Whereas Dai Shi, you can't really build around him, and like, he doesn't really fit into many shells, whereas blue has a good assist. And you can actually build around him. You can build around his teleports and stuff, right? So I kind of want to put him here. That's a hard one. That's a hard one. So we are going to move on to Trey. Trey is definitely here. I think he's easier to play than Dai Shi, but man, his roots, they are long. I don't think they're necessarily hard, actually. Maybe he belongs somewhere around here. Maybe across this line. His value, like, he's down here. The thing that stops him from being worse than Trini is that he actually does play grid. He does get to dash. He does have a really, like, he can dash carry grab, and it's a really big it's a really big carry grab. He also has a lot of damage. He has tag in value, so if you have the right team set up for him, you can tag into him and use capture states, capture and spins, I think it is. In particular, capture states, you can use them in order to add more damage. So I think he belongs, he's clearly, he's ahead above Trini for sure. How hard is he to play? I think he probably I'm going to keep him here. I don't think he's any harder to play than Green or Magna. It's just bad. It's just bad, and I think trying to dissociate, like, playing a bad character is hard work is the character actually hard work? It's a difficult thing to try and figure out, but I think he's probably here. He also has a terrible NTR, but one of the benefits that he does have is that if there is a projectile heavy team, Trey could get through it quite easily with JS and 6S because they go through projectiles. So there is value there in that as well. So we're going to keep him there. We are going to move on to Adam. I think Adam belongs up here. I think he's probably in value. I think he's along the same lines as RJ. However, I think to play him well, he probably sits around here. Maybe in line with Lauren. So the reason being is he has a double EX route, which does kill most characters. But I think to truly unlock Adam's potential, you have to use his super. And the super is hard to work with. Like, he can do dumb stuff and get away with it in neutral. He's a great character to build around. But I do think to play him well, it does take more work than not. And I think that's one of the reasons why we don't see as many Adams as we used to before the nerfs came to him. He no longer gets away with things for free. So I think I'm going to put him here. I think Lauren, even though her roots are probably harder up until the install with Adam, I think she's overall an easier character. So we're going to leave him there. I think he belongs in line with RJ for sure. So we are going to move on to Doggo. Now, Dog is I think he's among the hardest characters to play as well. His roots are very technical, very long. He has some really great tools, like his JS and, you know, being able to combo off of that. And just in general, like his conversions, I think are not the easiest at times. Oh, what's his value? What is his value? His assist is so unique. It is one of the, so Adam assist, he comes over the top, but it's a fixed distance, right? Dog, full screen. Loves Eric. Eric wants to sit at full screen. Just send in the dogs. He will come down from above. You know, you can convert any hit. That also applies to Slayer as well, and Sentry. Like, these characters love Dog. Now, Dog's damage is very good. It's very high. He can also compensate with a Blinkfinite in order to carry in the rest of the damage. So, is he worth playing more than not? He's hard work. I kind of want to put him here. I think I might just put him here. Okay, and we are leading into our last 4 characters. And the first one is Udonna. I think she belongs down here. I don't think she's very good. I don't like her assist. I don't like her neutral. I think she's a trap of a character, but that doesn't mean she's not worth playing. I do think it makes her slightly harder to play, because her actual gameplay, her roots and that are not among the... they're not really among the easiest. And I just think she's a bit of a struggle. She's very slow to dash. Is she better than... She's worse than Blue. I think she's worse in terms of point value. Her assist is definitely worse, so maybe she belongs down here. And in terms of easy to play, how easy is she? I think it's okay to jump around and press like projectiles and stuff, but I think to actually play grid with her, I think she's probably down here somewhere. If you could kill with an EX with her, she's really good. She's really good in the vortex when she gets that kill and she's got the incoming with the orbs around her. But like, I just don't think she's that good. I think she belongs down here. I think she's far easier to play than a character like Trey. Is that true? She has a really good overhead. She has some good pokes. We're going to move on to Ryu now. Now, Ryu, I think he belongs here minimum. His assist is really good. His assist is basically a projectile version of Cat. Now, it doesn't have all of the nuance that the Cat assist does. But the difference is that he's a better point character, I think. I think he's a better point character. His roots are not as easy. He requires motion inputs, which keeps him out from being the easiest characters to play. Where do I like him? He's so stubby. His buttons are really stubby. Yeah, actually, maybe with his buttons, does he... No, he's definitely better than Cat. So he's probably around here. I think his assist is the best version of Cat. I think he's better than Sentry. Yeah, I'm going to put him here. I think he's better than Sentry. He's probably around the same level as Rita for me in terms of value for playing. They both have an assist. That's quite good. I think Goldar might just be might be a little bit better for it. For like just covering, horizontal line. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking of a horizontal assist. And Ryu's is very good. Goldar's has that armor, which is really nice. It's a lot easier to convert off of. But like, Ryu's really stubby. But I don't... Does he belong over here? Like, he's got stubby buttons. He's got motion inputs, you know? He has motion inputs. But he doesn't require as many roots. And he does a lot of damage. So maybe he belongs here, you know? Because of the motion inputs. And the stubby normals, you need to know how to tick throw with him for sure. But I don't think he's as hard to play as Eric. I think his game plan's a lot more linear, and his roots are very stable. So I think he probably belongs here. I'm not sure if he's worth more than Rita. He fits into teams easier than Rita, but that doesn't mean he's worth more. So we have Lord Zedd. Now, Lord Zedd, I think he belongs in the harder to play section. I've watched a lot of Zedd's play over time. His roots are very sensitive to distance from the corner and which way you're facing the corner. And there's a lot you need to know about it. He also doesn't have a normal dash. And while it is nice for being able to dash through characters, so you need to know when to dash. You can't just dash with him. You have to know which way you're going with him and how you're going to do it. So spacing's very important with him. And I think that naturally puts him in the hard to play. I think he's one of the best characters in the game. I often say that he is like neck and neck with Lauren. He's high damage. Like, he gets the damage that Lauren doesn't get, but like Lauren gets the mobility and, in my opinion, more options. So maybe he belongs here. In terms of hard to play, he does solo very well against most characters. So maybe he belongs here. Is he harder than Eric? Maybe, but he's probably easier than Rita. Is he harder than Adam? For sure. Is he harder than Lauren? In my opinion, yes. And his value is like so neck and neck with Lauren. So maybe it just belongs here. We're going to shuffle some around after that, but first of all, we're going to play Chun Li. I think she belongs in this corner. In fact, if we could just like put her right here in the corner, she is absolutely worth playing. Is she worth playing more than Zedd? Probably. I think she's the best point in the game. I think her assist is not as good. It's still very good, but I don't think it's as good as Jen's. I think where Jen has better assist value, better support value, I think Chun Li makes up for in point value and damage. Raw damage. Absolutely raw damage. Yeah, I think the thing that I also like about Jen is that her solo incoming's a little bit better. However, she's a point machine. Like, just sticking her on point and just watch her chew through players that are just not ready for her. So I think she belongs up here. Now, why is she hard to play? I think she requires among the most buttons in the game to play, much like Dai Shi. I think she requires more. She also has motion inputs. She has a charge motion. I think everything around her and just how quickly you have to play neutral with her, she is definitely among the hardest of characters to play with Dai Shi. So I think she belongs here. Okay, and we are back just after my program decided to crash, and I didn't save my work as I went, so I had to go through and do this whole list again. Now, I want to go through and just double check the characters and see if there's anyone I feel like I want to move. This group in particular, you know, is Jason easier to play than Cat? Maybe Cat's actually easier to play because she doesn't have as many options. So I actually think she probably is actually easier to play than Jason because she has less options. Is she worth playing more than Jason? I really like her assist still. I think I'm going to have to do this though. While she has the better assist, she has much worse point value. Jason's assist is worse, but he has better point value. But they both kind of fit on the same teams, right? They both work with a character like Lauren who wants, a quick lockdown assist. Or, someone like Eric who wants a character that just, a very fast horizontal assist. I think they're both worse than Goldar by a long shot in the horizontal assist war. Trey, I was having to think about this as I was putting it back together. Now, Trey is definitely along this line, but how easy is he to play? His roots don't look hard. They are long, so I think maybe he actually belongs kind of like in this area. I think he's probably like left of the line, right? His roots do look quite easy. Instead, I'm going to push him over to the other side line. I think these two are fine where they are. They're both the same level of difficulty for different reasons. And maybe she belongs over here. Because of her arrows, like to play her well, you have to do blink arrows. So I think I'm going to adjust her to be around here. Right, so I went away and I shared this list with a friend and he turned around to me and immediately said, "Where's Drakkon?" And I realized that I had forgotten about Lord Drakkon. So here is Drakkon. Now, where do I think he belongs? I think he's in the easier to play. I think he's definitely one of the easier characters to play in order to, make the most of his kit. I think his value is probably somewhere, I think he's about here. He needs a team to build around him. He has a really nice assist, so maybe he can go here. Yeah, I think he's definitely in the bottom half. And with that, now the list is complete. I've counted, I've checked this time, and there is definitely no missing characters.